I would like to call to order the regular meeting of the Monee Village Board of Trustees for February 9th, 2022 at 6:35. If I could please ask Dave Holston to come up for the invocation, please.
Good evening. Good evening. Good. Glad you're awake. Happy Valentine's Day in advance to all of you, even Scott. Shall we pray? Lord, thank you. Thank you for this village we live in. Thank you for people that care enough to represent the village in governance, care enough to come to meetings, care enough to serve in so many different ways. We thank you, Lord, that you can make us so different from each other, but yet with a common bond to serve you, to serve each other. We pray that you would be with the leadership that we have here, with our mayor, with our administrator, with our legal counsel, with our trustees, with our village clerk, with all the staff that serve in so many different ways. We're grateful for their service and for the jobs that they have done. Even when we don't agree, Lord, we agree that you're in charge. We pray that you would be with all of us tonight. Give us a spirit of cooperation, a spirit of understanding, that we would listen as well as talk, so that we would listen to your voice and listen to the voice of others. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
If I could have roll call, please, Donisha.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Here.
Trustee Horn?
Yes. Here.
Trustee Razek?
Present.
Nope, not you, not quite yet.
Oh, I thought she said Rakis.
No.
I'm sorry.
Trustee Wilson?
Present.
Trustee Rakis?
Present.
Trustee Udris?
Present.
Thank you. Open to the public, agenda items only. If anybody's got anything, okay. Next item is the consent agenda. If I can please have a motion to accept.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
I'll second.
Any discussion on the consent agenda? Roll call, please.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Thank you. Clerk's report, Donisha.
Thank you, folks. I have a couple things. One, we'll do the swearing in first of Emma.
Good evening, Board. Tonight we'll be swearing in responder Brian Glim. Brian is a Monee resident. He's a ham radio operator. He brings that talent to our agency. And it's dedicated volunteers like Brian that make our agency thrive. He already has begun our training. So we're ready for the next step. We have his grandson with him. He's going to help out tonight. And Denisha, we're all set for you. Go right over there on that side. And you're going to come right over here on this side.
Here, you can come here. You raise your right hand and repeat after me. Insert your name after I. I
Brian J. Glim,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
I will defend and bear true faith
I will defend and bear true faith
and allegiance
and
to the
allegiance
Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois
and to the Constitution of the State of Illinois
and the territory, institutions, and facilities
and the territory and institutions and facilities
thereof,
thereof,
both public and private,
both public and private,
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic.
and I take this obligation freely
And I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter,
the duties in which I am about to enter,
and I do further swear
and I do further swear
that I do not advocate,
that I do not advocate,
nor am I,
nor am I,
nor have I been,
nor have I been,
a member of any political party,
any political party,
a member of any political party
a member of any political party
or organization
or organization
that advocates the overthrow of the government
that advocates the overthrow of the government
of the United States
of the United States
or of this state
or of this state
by force or violence,
by force or violence,
and that during such time
and that during such time
as I am affiliated with the Village of Monee,
that I am affiliated with the Village of Monee
EMA organization,
and the EMA organization,
I will not advocate
I will not advocate
nor become
nor become
a member of any political party
a member of any political party
or organization
or organization
that advocates
advocates
the overthrow of the government
the overthrow of the government
of the United States
of the United States
or this state
or this state
by force or violence.
by force or violence.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
There you go.
Oh, thanks, Liz.
Don't run away, come.
Oh,
Stay here, young man.
gotta get a picture, buddy.
And this is your copy. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Oh, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I also wanted to make mention that I have provided all of the updated information and names of those who need to file the Statement of Economic Interest for year 2022. And you all will start receiving that. They'll start going out as of February 14th. Please make sure that you check your spam folder or the one that's blocked, because almost always it goes there. And we have until May 1st of 2022. That is the deadline. And of course, they'll send out a few reminders, and I'll keep everyone updated as that goes along. And finally, I just wanted to make mention that my certificate for completion of 3 years has finally came from Institute. So just wanted to share that. I was excited to see it. End of report.
Congratulations, thank you. Okay, under the mayor's report, first and foremost, I want to say kudos to DPW and EMA and the police and everybody with the recent snow event we had. They, as always, have done an outstanding job, and we all, as residents, appreciate it. Okay, next up, first of all, Billy, I've got Billy Tyler from Troop 315, Boy Scout Troop. You are inadvertently on the agenda as Cub Scout, and you are, I know, older than 5th grade, so. Billy's got, yes, he's got a presentation for his Eagle Scout project. So, Billy, all yours.
Good evening, board. Am I getting caught on this mic? Yes?
No.
Okay. Hi, I'm Billy Tyler. I've been in Scouts since I was in the 1st grade when I was in Cub Scouts, and I'm here to propose the installation of a Gaga Ball Pit for my Eagle project. A Gaga Ball Pit is Gaga Ball is a game that we play at various summer camps for Scouts. It is a very simple game where you basically you use a kickball and you try to hit other people from the knee or below, and you can't hit it outside of the court, and you can't hit it 2 times in a row. It's a very simple game. It's, very fun. I have had tons of good experiences with it, and I want to put it in to Monee because I've found that a lot of playgrounds and like public space is either for very young kids, like elementary and like early middle school. A lot of the playgrounds are built for smaller people, or they don't have a lot when it comes to interactivity. So I thought this would be a good idea to put in because it allows for high schoolers and above, and even middle schoolers and elementary schoolers as well, to play a game with relative ease that is, safe and fun so that they have something to do. And I know that there was a talk about renovating Fireman's Park and the surrounding areas, and I thought that this would be a good place or a good time to add it. I already explained that. Basically, the materials we'd be using is 2x4s and 2x10s. You make, so it's 3 2x10s put horizontally, and then 3 2x4s put vertically to make basically a fence post, or not post, but a fence wall. And then you connect them together using gate hinges, 2 gate hinges on the inside, and it stands up as an octagon. It's a very simple construction, and also I've come to find that the safest and also cheapest way to have a floor for it is basically just turf, just dirt. And as it being my Eagle Scout project, it'll be completely paid for through donations and fundraisers and that sort of thing through my troop. Are there any questions?
Diana, can you answer questions too? And Billy, then this could be frankly portable then too. So it can be, you want it permanently affixed in the park, or in wintertime we can take it down kind of thing?
You can absolutely move it however much you need to. There would have to be some sort of removal of at least grass on the inside of it, because kickballs don't bounce very well in grass. But it is, Miss Kroll asked me to make it very maneuverable, portable, and it is as simple as just being able to undo the screws in the door hinges, even on only one side, and then just fold walls on top of themselves so that they're in stacks you would use for a pallet, and then put it in a truck, put it wherever you need to, and you can just lift it up. It's heavy enough that wind won't affect it too bad. It won't push walls in or anything, but it's light enough that you can move it fairly quickly.
In the game, do you require striping or any marking?
No.
Okay.
It's just the court, and that's it. And a kickball, obviously, but
We probably have a couple of those.
Yeah. And I'm going to, if I get permission to do this, I will most likely add a basket on the side to put in kickballs and a, what's it called? A little, what is the name of that? A little case that puts the rules in it.
Oh, good. Okay.
Just so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
people know at least standard rules, because everyone plays it a little different, but I'll put in the rules that I've learned it by.
So I can picture this as just something we can add to our catalog, that this is, and then going back to our the park's comprehensive plan. So I know, Billy, that you put it in there for Fireman's Park, although you talked about, the underusage of the little, what do they call, the little play parks, and the little parks that we have in town, but there's an awful lot of unused space there.
Yes. The only reason I did Fireman's Park is because when I was scouting, because I walk all around town all the time, especially during the summer, and basically anytime it's not freezing cold. Over here by the playground at Fireman's Park, there is a nice flat spot in between the playground and the baseball diamond closest to that playground. And this obviously needs a flat area so that it's not kicking the ball everywhere. And that's why I suggested Fireman's Park, but I'm completely open to putting it anywhere.
So going along with that basic line, Diana, can you picture that in somewhere else, since we're, starting some big renovations at Fireman's?
Yeah, we can definitely, those plans aren't set for at least 2 years. So he could set it up at Fireman's Park, and then we can move it to another park. He's aware of that. We do have the 3 other parks to pick from. So, whichever one's got the flattest ground, which some of them are a little hilly, but easily fixed.
And so that's, because we did, during that comprehensive plan, and, Bill, you're obviously, you're not aware of this. This happened a couple of years ago. That we found, a lot of people just mentioned that, yes, we have some playgrounds in town, but there's an awful lot of unused space. And we had talked about portable games like this, exactly like this. So
Yeah.
it fits perfectly into that.
And I thought it would because it's all it does is take up space. And you can basically make any spot flat enough if you have, minor landscaping tools, which I'm sure the village has access to.
Billy, thanks for coming out tonight. So, other than scouts, how many people know how to play this game? For instance, young people your age walking by and see this out here, would they know that this is a Gaga Ball pen?
I have seen it at other camps that aren't scout camps, but I don't know how many people are aware of it. I haven't polled people in my school or whatever because I go to Crete Monee. So I don't know how many people would know of it, but having the instructions on the side of it explaining what it is. There's another one of these in Piatone that does the same thing, and a lot of people, even if they don't know what it is at first, they would be able to figure it out fairly quickly, especially if it's at a park area that, I know a lot of teenagers at least will still hang around playgrounds even if they aren't using the equipment.
Okay, and how easy would this be to disassemble and move? With screws, or would there be bolts, or what is your proposal on that?
It would be screws that are connecting the hinges to the different pallet or different wall pieces. Hold on, I will go back to this one here. If you look, because I know you guys were all given little papers.
You could show a point right here. On the other side, this is the TV.
Oh, okay. Give me 1 second here.
That way you can
Oh, I got
to
it.
So right here, you can see there are door hinges that connect each piece. You only would have to undo one half for each of them, because then you can fold you can basically have 4 sets of 2 walls, effectively, which will be I would believe would be very easy to fold in on themselves. Yeah, using the hinges, they should be able to just fold directly together.
I picture like a dog exercise pen, that basically.
Yeah, exactly. It'll become one, basically just a larger board, because they can fold right on top of each other.
So you may not know this from just meeting me here in this room, but I am a great aficionado of Gaga Ball. I am. I really am. And I've played it. I've played it many times, actually. So, yes, I have. And I follow all the leagues.
I don't think there are leagues.
Okay. Well, never mind on that. But my point is that this is a great idea. I like it very much. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Billy, I just want to congratulate you on your accomplishments with the Eagle Scout, and I commend you for taking on this project.
Thank you.
As Trustee Gonzalez said, during the Parks and Rec Comprehensive Plan, this was brought up, and this is something that's always been on the back burner, and now it's on the front burner, so I commend you on that, and thank you. I would just say, don't keep it to one. Don't limit yourself to just one. I see this going viral almost at a couple of these smaller parks. I mean, all you need to see is a group of kids playing, and guess what they want to do? They want to play Gaga Ball, right?
Yeah,
and it's something to do. And like you said too, most of the equipment's for younger children. This gives the teenagers and the older kids something to do. So.
And personally, in my opinion, I think it's also good because it's not, although it gives the older people something to do, it still lets them play with their younger siblings and their kids, because it's basically anyone can do it. I've seen super tall people, super short people, really young people play it. because, you know, the's all kinds at scout camps and such. So everyone I know has loved playing it so far.
Awesome.
Yeah, Billy, I applaud you for your creativity
too.
and for, for stepping up with a project like this. Like I told you before, and the other trustees have said, I mean, we certainly have the space for it, and it fits right into the vision that we all have for our park district. And I can say, I too, with the park days coming up, this could be a great opportunity to teach a lot of people in the village and have some fun with it, so thank you.
Of course.
Very good.
I just have one question. What kind of lumber are you using for it?
So I currently have 2 ideas for that, either pressure-treated lumber or cedar, which is also outdoor treated. The cedar is a little bit more expensive, but will last longer. And the pressure-treated will, it's only, I think, if I remember correctly, $200 difference about. So, that decision is going to be made, after I am starting to, get the flow of donations and doing fundraisers and such, because then I can decide whether or not, it is feasible to do cedar or if it would be better to just do the pressure treated. And just as an aside, because you talked about multiple of these, if this really hits off, my troop is always looking for things to do. I could totally talk them into, after I do all the paperwork and everything for this, totally talk them into making more and sending them, building them here just for service projects, because people need those for rake advancements and stuff like that, because all this is just a very large service project. So I can always put in a word with people there if it turns out that the community really likes this.
If I could add something to this, and Ruben's aware of this, when this project first came up, we got Amy from Farnsworth involved in it. We sent her his presentation. She had some questions about materials and how it was being built, and she had almost the same questions you guys had, and he was very welcoming to answer them and take her suggestions, and that's how he's coming up with some of these answers for you, is because we did have Amy from Farnsworth was kind enough to donate her time to answer his questions and help him kind of, here's some of the equipment that you should be using. So this has been looked at by Farnsworth. Just wanted to let you guys know that.
I just wanted to make a comment. Billy, I appreciate you coming forward with this. And just so you guys know, the kids, we go camping all the time. And if it's one of these there, the kids will be in there for hours playing. I mean, they come from everywhere, and they'll play with that. So that is really, really awesome to have for the kids.
Yeah, the 2 biggest camp games, you can ask this about anyone who's ever gone camping in anywhere that's not just out in the woods, if you go to a Yogi Bear, Jellystone, those, or family camps or scout camps. It's Foursquare if there's asphalt, and Gaga Ball if there's not, or both if they have both, because Foursquare is really easy. You just put some chalk on the ground, make 4 boxes, and this is really easy because it's quick to learn, and it goes by pretty fast, unless there's 30 people playing, which has happened before, and that's a wild game, because for the first 10 seconds you have people stacked 3 deep in the in the big octagon, and you basically can't move. You just have to wait for all the athletic people to get each other out. Are there any other questions?
I just want to say something. Thank you very much for putting in the time and the effort for this project. It looks like it's going to be a whole lot of fun for the community. And I was curious, have you figured out a way to transport it if you had to move it? Have you thought of that yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Once again, like I said, the folding of it, but also just the way I am planning on initially installing it and getting it from my garage, because I live over on West Court Street, right behind the heating and cooling place right there, is just putting it in either my truck or my dad's truck, because like I had said before, they're basically just pallets, or you can consider them just parts of a fence. So they're really easy to they're really easy to transport, because all you have to do is just stack them on top of each other and then like move them from place to place. Just put them in the bed of a truck and then get it where it
Okay.
needs to go.
Well, I have an idea, and you can think about it. Maybe it might help. When you go to make your panels, maybe measure them, and then make yourself a platform and throw wheels on it underneath. They sell them at Home Depot. And you can put a rope or a handle on one side to get it from the field to the truck. It might help. Instead of carrying the wood. You know what I
understand
mean?
what you mean. Yeah, sorry,
It'll-
I misunderstood the question then.
No, it wasn't really a question. It was just an idea to help you transport it from the field to the truck.
Okay.
It might help. It'll definitely help with labor for your back, for sure. So, that's it. Thank you, honey.
Thank you for the
You're welcome.
suggestion. Anything else? Thank you so much for your time.
Now on to presentation number 2 on village signage by the Economic Development Director, Bill Barnes.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's plug this in. Give me a second. Okay. Okay, so thank you. So I guess last presentation, or last board meeting brief, talked a little bit and did some handouts or just kind of passed around some ideas on monument signage that I've been working on really almost since I started in October. So this presentation, first of all, so when I started, and as most of you know, you have to really make an impression at your front door, so to speak. So that's the entry points and that type of thing. So this whole signage project is based on that concept. So as you'll see, first of all, Village of Monee, in which we talked about a little bit. So I've addressed or changed the logo type a little bit, kind of going forward to modernize the look of the village and that type of thing. I also have the graphic designers on the side working on kind of a crest or an emblem, but it's a work in progress. So let's see. So this is as you know, the current signage outside is just one color, kind of an older style, yellow on black. So this would be an update, changing out the old LED sign with the new two-sided LED, full color. We can do advertising, announcements, changing the messaging. We could even help promote local businesses. So the bottom part would always be ever-changing. So it's a high-resolution LED sign message board on both sides. And those, as you probably would imagine, those are typically the most expensive part of signage when you get into a project like this. The new look that I have as a proposal would be to go with a kind of a bronze brushed metal look. Everything is illuminated, so the Village of Monee will always be white. Some signs you may see the colors change. Maybe during the day it's black and then it's hard to see, but this will always be illuminated. It'll always be white. So that would be upgrading the current sign with the brick. And then here, so we have, it's always televised and that type of thing. There's really no brand. So it's about branding and being consistent, with jackets, everything. So when people come in to Monee, it's consistent. We don't have, as we televise and people walk in, we have the flag, but we don't know that it's not saying the Village of Monee, so it's consistent throughout. Again, same thing, so the letters would be mounted to the wall, glued on, the brushed bronze look. So gateway signage. So this would be leading into, and you'll see in the next slide, I have some recommended, and I have handouts that I'll give to you after this that you can take home and make comments for the next time we talk. So this would be actually the concept behind the brick or the stone would be to tie into the creamery, so adding, kind of tying in the historic part of it. And there's a couple of different quarries, one in Mantino, Vulcan, and then there's also one on Route 80 as you go across 80. That's, I think, somebody said, I think, is whiter stone. So we'd be looking at this. So this is real masonry. It's not kind of vinyl and attached. So this is long-term signage. Again, two-sided, always illuminated, message board always changing, and the messages around the village would always be consistent. They would be the same. They would be tied into either this laptop or someone else's, so we would always have control over what's said. The other thing is too, if there's an Amber Alert, typically Amber Alert, the broadcast comes out and it overrides what's on this message board, so there's signals that are sent out, so that gets broadcast on here. So as people walk or drive by, that they see that there's an Amber Alert, so they can be aware. So these are recommended locations because, you know, there's, we're in progress in talking, of course, of the widening, hopefully, of Ridgeland, Manhattan, Monee Road. So some of these are dependent on that. So we wouldn't want to obviously spend the money on a sign, and then next year they're going to have to move the sign because they're widening the road. So the first two, Governor's Highway West, where the current, I think the sign got blown over by the wind or something. So just near Dollar General, coming into town from Manhattan Monee Road at Governor's Highway. So this would be a recommendation, or one sign. So it would obviously be facing south and north, so you hit it from both ways. And then the other would be at the south entrance, so getting for both entry points. Those are pretty solid. I don't think that those roads are going to change anytime soon, unless you put a light at each intersection. And then the others would be at Court Street, east of Wills Center, and then Manhattan Monee Road. This is the one I'm talking about, depending on the widening of the road at Ridgeland, and then other locations as the village expands and annexes and possibly other properties. Any questions so far? But again, I'm going to give you these handouts, and as you come up with other ideas, like during the week for the next meeting, which I'll have actual numbers for competitive bids. So I don't have numbers today, but I can give you ballparks if you're interested. The next one is, you know, with all the industry going on, industrial gateway signage to get away from some of the kind of the plywood signs and the temporary signs to, again, be consistent, be professional. These would be illuminated. This sign, as it is, as you see it now, is about 15 foot tall. The panels, they open up. Again, everything is always illuminated. Keep it consistent with black and white and not do different colors because it just becomes too overwhelming and colors fade and that type of thing. So if a business moves out or moves in, the side opens up, the cabinet, and the sign, you know, the sign company goes in and just slides in that new business. So each one is an individual panel. Questions? Anything? That obviously would be, yeah, another part of this project is getting the electrical there. But I think in most places that there's electric that obviously runs, and you know, we'll work with the engineers on that and Public Works.
Are any of these signs solar powered as a way to save energy costs?
I don't think solar powered, because all of these they have to be LED to be really bright, and I can check to see if solar can brighten, you know, like illuminate or power LED. I've never seen that in signs like this. Good question. Yeah.
Are the LEDs, the brightness level of those signs,
yes,
adjustable?
Great question, because there are some that are blinding, especially
Yes.
at road level. Yes, they are. They have a sensor inside that senses daytime and nighttime. So then the lights at nighttime dim to probably about 60% of what they are during the day. So obviously sun. So yeah, there are some that are obnoxiously bright and blinding. So yes, they are. They dim according to the brightness of outside and the time of day. Good question. Anybody else? So again, this ties into the masonry and the historic about, with the creamery, the stonework and that type of thing. Recommended locations would be Governor's Highway, obviously at Industrial Drive, with all the building there and, well, just all over. Ridgeland at Manhattan Monee Road South, and then also on the opposite side of Manhattan Monee Road, I don't know why I put M&D, M&M, going north on Ridgeland. So, again, gateways into industrial areas. Cleveland Road South, again, after the realignment, possibly because you have a lot of course, businesses down there. And then Ridgeland South at Bruns Road. And again, I'm open to suggestions. These are just ideas. So, and you all live here, so you know places better than I. And that's that. Any questions? And again, next presentation, next month, in a couple of weeks, I'll have actual costs on what these are. And then we can go from there.
Thank you.
Oh, and one thing I forgot to talk about, which I have, sorry. Last meeting, I think you asked about, subdivision signage. So I didn't put that, but that's on the last page of it. So this is just the last one is an idea. It's just kind of a separate attachment at the very back. So that's just a concept, and everything is open for discussion and ideas. Okay. That's all I have. So thanks.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Okay, moving on to our administrator's report. Ruben, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. The first item under my report is an update on the T-Mobile agreement. So at the last board meeting, January 26th, the board was handed a draft of an agreement between T-Mobile and the village. The agreement has gone back to T-Mobile. Their legal department is reviewing it currently, and they are pretty sure that we should have an agreement in the next few weeks and should be ready for a vote at the next board meeting. Next item is full-time police officer hire request. The Monee Police Department will be losing a full-time police officer later this week to another department. Additionally, 2 officers have informed the chief that they will be retiring this year. One other officer is eligible for retirement, and another officer has notified the chief that he has applied with another law enforcement agency and may leave to take a lateral transfer to this department. Maintaining general staffing needs has become a serious problem in a short amount of time. Therefore, Chief Kerner has requested to hire a full-time police officer for the current, from the current eligibility list. Before I would ask for a motion, I just want to acquiesce to the chief and just kind of share with the board the state of the department at this point. Chief.
Thank you, sir. Just so you're kind of aware, Administrator Bautista and I spend a lot of time talking about the future of the police department and trying to give it some direction so that we leave it where it should be for the safety of this community. And he's had me research and study 3 different traffic studies, one by the county and a couple private ones, one including our village study, ad nauseum, I might add. And you know, we're actually looking between there are certain numbers and even the numbers that go through our LPR cameras. You're looking at between 2.75 and 3 million cars a year going through that I-57 Monee Manhattan corridor. So I felt like it was incumbent upon us to have a plan that we could actually show the board and explain to the board why this is the direction we should go. So the first thing we did is we went out and looked at per capita studies for the number of officers per population. And what we found was there's no simple answer. You cannot compare a town of 5,000 in Nebraska with a town of 5,000 in a large metropolitan area. So the Department of Justice does do an analysis of the number of officers per capita throughout the country, and they give out statistics based on those numbers. For communities under 10,000 in this country right now, the average is between, the average is actually around 3.8, the low side is 2.6, and the high side is close to 5, and that's number of officers per 1,000 people. So the average here would be approximately 19 officers. That's patrol officers and sergeants we're talking. We are currently at 15. The additional officer we're asking for tonight is to replace the one who just left us from the lateral list so that we can plug and play. So looking at these per capita studies, how do you determine whether you're going to do 2.6 officers per 1,000, 3.8 officers per 1,000, or 5 officers per 1,000? And they give you a lot of information on how you should measure this stuff. And some of the parameters involved are you attached to a major highway artery? Are you attached to a major metropolitan area? What is the crime rate in the last 5 years in your area? Do you have a lot of rental property? Do you have a growing commercial zone? What are your traffic numbers? Every one of these boxes that push departments up to the higher number per capita, we check. So looking at those numbers and then looking back, I don't want to say I'm some kind of a soothsayer or whatever, but back in 2018, we did a department study and tried to say, here's the 5-year plan and here's where we want to be. And the numbers we came up with back in 2018 were 19 officers and 3 administrative personnel with a chief and a deputy chief, which is very, very close to what this DOJ study is telling us we should have. So it all comes down to what expectations does this community have of its police department, and what expectations does this board have of its police department? We are going to ask for additional personnel in the next finance year, but we're not going to come in here and say we need 10 more people. That's ridiculous. We don't budget for that. We don't try to pull something over on the community. We're going to give you numbers that we think fit into the future of this community and will help us to handle the number of calls we have now. Trustee Udris is going to talk a little bit about the calls for service that we've had over the last 5 years with the paperwork that I gave you earlier. And it kind of shows our relationship with other communities in this area as to the number of calls that we handle, the types of calls that we handle, and the number of people that we need to do it effectively and efficiently for this community. And I think I touched on all the bases. Any questions for me? Thank you, Board.
Thank you, Chief. So the action requested is a motion to approve the hiring of one officer candidate from the current Village of Monee's Police Secondary Eligibility List.
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
Oh, yeah.
Roll call,
Can I,
please. Oh,
can I-
yes.
just one question
ahead.
then? The eligibility list, we still have somebody on that eligibility list?
Yeah, there's actually 2 eligibility lists. There's the new applicant list and there's the lateral entry list. And the new applicant list expired. The last candidate on it took a job with the U of I Police about 3 weeks ago. So we will be hiring off of the lateral entry list.
Okay.
And I might, just as a side note, the officer who is number 1 on that list is currently one of our part-time officers.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Roll call, please.
Trustee Rakes?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Thank you, Board. Last item on my report is a monofoil report. As the board may recall, the village entered into an agreement with Monofoil USA to conduct sanitizing services at all village buildings to assist in the fight against COVID-19 and various infectious diseases. Monofoil performed its first sanitizing operation in the village on October 28th, 2021. Before the first application of their product, Monofoil conducted an adenosine triphosphate, say that 3 times, ATP meter test. This meter tests for the presence or growth of microorganisms like bacteria or viruses. A test swab is taken from a specific area and placed into the ATP meter, which provides a numerical score measuring the amount of organisms on the tested surface. A numerical score of 100 or less signifies a clean or sanitized surface. Any score above 100 is considered unsanitary. The second Monofoil application was conducted on January 27th, 2022. Reports for both test dates are attached. Please note the before and after ATP test scores on each report. High traffic areas at various facilities were tested prior to the second application. In the January 27th test, results show a continued barrier of protection that's still at work, keeping the numerical scores under 100, for the exception of the customer service window at Village Hall and the police department. During our united effort to combat COVID-19, the Village of Monee has taken great steps to protect the residents, staff, and elected officials at all of the village facilities. If you would just take a note on the first page of the report and the attachment, one item I just do want to point out, and I don't mean to pick on you, Public Works, but there is a refrigerator handle that's in your kitchen, and it's scored at 1504 prior to the first application, and then scored a 6. 3 months later, on the second application, they swabbed that same refrigerator handle, and it was 93. So after 3 months, still being touched, it would be considered sanitized. And so it's still maintaining its effectiveness, and then it scored a 2 afterwards. So you can look at those scores at your leisure, but the product is working. And just so the board is aware, prior to every board meeting, or I should say the next day after this board meeting, tomorrow, this area is sanitized, as well as all the chairs and surfaces and doorways and so forth. So that is correct. Mm-hmm. Yes. So that is the end of my report. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving on to the officials' reports. Public Works, Trustee Horn, please.
Thank you, Mayor. All I can say, Mr. Batista, is our guys like food in the Public Works Department. We like our lunches and breakfasts. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to thank the Public Works for their excellent work over this last week in snow removal and keeping our roads open. And I asked Ed Johnson, who's our DPW director, to walk us through what their days were like from Wednesday through Friday as far as working and clearing snow. So let me go through that with you. Winter storm event that took place on February 2 and 3 left 12.4 inches of snow in its wake. The storm's main event, of course, was on Wednesday, February 2nd, on which DPW crews worked from 4 a.m. until 6 p.m. to keep roads passable. And if you recall that day, well, it came down pretty quick. Snowfall rates were estimated at 1.5 inches per hour at times during the height of the storm. Crews returned Thursday morning at 4 a.m. to continue the cleanup and to address the blowing and drifting conditions that had developed overnight. After leaving at 2 p.m. on Thursday, a limited crew returned Thursday evening to again clear areas of blowing and drifting snow. Final cleanup began Friday morning at 5 a.m. and was completed by the end of normal business hours as the winds had finally subsided. So again, thank you to DPW for their tireless work. With regard to that, we have a new building department office that's going to be opening in a few weeks. That will be on Wilson Street, right on the corner of Route 50 and Wilson Street. I'm sure, speaking of signage, I'm sure we'll have appropriate signage for that. But it's nearing completion. Finishing touches are being applied, desks are being assembled, and network data equipment is being installed next week. We are anticipating that work will be substantially completed by the end of next week, allowing for building services to start migrating their operation there the following week. Unless you have any questions, that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Trustee Horn. Parks and Recreation, Trustee Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. A couple things to report for Parks and Rec. Just remember that next Wednesday, February 16th, is the next senior luncheon at the Parks Building. The fee is only $5. It includes lunch and entertainment. And this Saturday, February 12th, is the last chance to enroll in T-ball, baseball, or softball at Fireman's Park from 9 a.m. until noon. And a couple other things. We're always thinking about spring. The Monee, Village of Monee and the Monee Alliance of Churches is going to sponsor our Easter egg hunt on Saturday, April 16th at Fireman's Park. The refreshments at 10 a.m. and the egg hunt starts at 10:30. The Easter Bunny, save the date. Breakfast with the Easter Bunny, a pancake breakfast hosted by the Village of Monee and at Shoop's, is going to be on April 9th from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. So watch the Village website and the Facebook page for that. And another save the date of Party in the Park, the Monee Parks and Rec, for Tuesday, January 28th at Sunrise, Tuesday, July 26th at Potawatomi Park, and August 3rd at Friendship Park from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Free hot dogs, chips, and water for the first 100 kids. So, you know, get ready. We're already thinking about warm weather as well. Yoga class, Tuesday and Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. And sign-ups are being taken now, Diana? And Muay Thai, if I say that right. Muay Thai. With instructed Luke. Mondays from 6 to 7 p.m. is $55 for 8 weeks and ages 7 to adult. End of report.
Thank you. Finance, Trustee Rakes.
Good evening. The village administration has started the fiscal year 2023 budget process. The Finance Committee would like to meet March 2nd at 7 p.m. to discuss the FY 2022 amended budget as well as the FY 2023 draft budget. Once the Finance Committee has a budget to be recommended to the full board, we will do so and look for the full board approval in April. The fiscal year end is 4/30/22. The village held its joint review board meeting on January 31st. Scott, I know you had reached out to me, and I spoke with Daryl this evening, and we have a confirmed meeting for the March 2nd at 7 p.m., and I would like to ask all of the trustees if you could please make that meeting, if possible.
March 2nd, what time?
That's it, end of report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to Economic Development, Trustee Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor. No new business license have been issued since the last meeting. One business license application has been submitted and pending review. Talks with Seafried and Northern Builders are progressing well. Rainbow Farm is for sale, and developers have shown interest in developing the property and reached out to the village. Monee Manhattan Traffic Impact Study has been completed and reviewed, and the presentation was given last meeting. I would just like to thank Wright and Associates for doing a thorough job in getting us at that the much needed information and data. The traffic impact study greatly impacts how the village moves forward with infrastructure and commercial projects. So that was well needed. The main takeaway for me was that commercial development wasn't the issue. It was the issue was poor design and inadequate roadways. Roads are primarily the first thing to go in, then the people come. Now they have access to it, so you build it, they will come. So usually the roadways are behind, because once the development takes off and you have to expand or widen or make accessible the roadways. So it's a bit of the growing process. We're filling the expansion of the village. So working with Will County moving forward, and also with, on our end, asking for right-of-ways and making sure that we're getting, when we're talking, having these talks with developers, that this conversation comes up, so then that the impact won't be so great on the residents. With the proper roadways, you can have a major entity on each corner and not feel the impact of it if it's designed properly. So that's something that we're, as a village, are going to be working on, and also with the developers while we're in talks. Thank you to Economic Development Director Bill Barnes for your presentation on the signage, and keep us posted on what's more to come. End of report, Mayor.
Thank you. Moving on to public safety, Trustee Udris.
Thank you, Mayor. First, for emergency management, EMA was out throughout the snowstorm. Not only were they assisting motorists and residents, but their emergency operations center was activated for department level heads here. Public Works and the fire department came in during this weather event where they had live webinars with the Chicago National Weather Service to stay up to date with tracking the storm and how it was going to affect us. Operations and staffing were also able to adjust based on that, some pinpoint accuracy to best serve the village. So a big thank you to Randy and all of his volunteer officers that came out to be part of that. On February 4th, they were called out to I-57 and southbound ramp for traffic control for an accident that involved a coach bus. And just yesterday, they responded mutual aid to Peatone to assist with traffic control for a crime scene there in Peatone. So again, I just say a big thank you to the guys in your department, guys and gals. For the police department, again, trustees have been given a copy of the police department stats comparison sheets. These do include some overall activity for the last 5 years. 2021 basically stayed consistent to the 2020 activity. Early on in the year, officers saw a reduction in overall activity, but that was due mostly to COVID-related restrictions. Second half of the year saw calls returning to the more expected levels. The second document that the trustees got is a stats analysis that was conducted by the Lairway Comm Center. And if you look at it closely, it shows that we already know that our calls for service are above the average that you would expect for a community our size of 5,000 residents. I-57 and the influx of the commercial zone employees is making our law enforcement activity more comparable to a community about double our size. So some things to keep in mind. End of report.
Great, thank you. Oh, okay. We're going to move on to the attorney's reports. So Larry.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item, we did receive, I think, one bid for the property that we're attempting to sell at Cleveland Industrial. We would need a motion to open that bid. Do we have it? Oh, okay. You can move on.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
I'll second it.
Yes.
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 Okay, so for the SID bid is from Vortman USA LLC. They'd like to make an offer for $500,000 for the above-mentioned property.
What I believe, Mayor, would be appropriate then is to review that at the next meeting. That obviously they're only bids, but a contract, if the board thought it would be appropriate, would eventually have to be drafted, but you know, we usually table that for the next board meeting for further consideration.
Okay, so can I have a motion, please, to postpone that till the next board meeting?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
I'll
So
second.
we table it or postpone it?
Just post.
Postpone, thank you.
That's fine.
Yes.
And roll call, please.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item is we need action for the authorizing the mayor to approve an agreement with a third-party vendor with respect to a law enforcement evaluation. Need a motion authorizing the mayor to execute the same.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, any discussion on,
Do we have costs on this?
yes? Yeah, it's on page 4 or 5.
Sorry, I missed that.
Connor.
And then the fact that it's mandated by the state, I'm guessing that's an unfunded mandate? They're not helping us pay for that?
I don't
Nope.
believe so.
Okay. Just asking.
You know you're with an ally.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? We've got a motion, right? Roll call, please.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item, as Trustee Wilson indicated, there's been substantial discussion with Seafried Redevelopment. If the board recalls, they are proposing to build on Ridgeland Avenue, basically across near the Hillwood site. We did make, I believe, substantial progress with the company. They have sent a letter, which I forwarded, and I'll get a copy to each board member. But basically, the letter, in essence, said they are opposed to our request of helping with respect to police personnel. We asked for a payment of an annual salary, and that would put some constraints on their budget, and also, according to TIF law, that salary or that police officer would be designated solely for that project. So that is a little problematic. They did indicate they agreed to most of requests made by Jeff with respect to infrastructure, which came up to, I believe, $2.1 million of additional costs that they will incur. They've also downsized their building. I believe it's down to 600,000 square feet. They have not closed on the property, obviously, but they may be at an upcoming board meeting. They do not have the user yet, which they identified. It would probably be a spec building for a certain period of time, but we have, I believe, made substantial progress with them. They have downsized the building, obviously, but Jeff rightfully asked for quite a few engineering upgrades, I believe, and they've agreed to most of them. So, any questions on that?
Just what if council, part of that downsize was due to providing a private roadway or access way to alleviate the congestion of traffic also. Just one.
Yes, sir.
Part of, make mention to that.
Yes, sir.
What was the original square footage?
I believe it was like 750 to 800,000.
Okay.
They still would maybe, they have the ability to subdivide that to 300,000 users, but they said more likely would be one user. The other update deals with Northern Builders. Northern Builders, as the board recalls, they own land on the, the west side of I-57 presently. They are also in the process of buying land, as we would refer to it, Aunt Aggie's old site, the Arquilla site and Aunt Aggie's. They're proposing to build 3 buildings on the site. The buildings cost for each project would go from 24 million total, 24 million to 36 million, depending on the size of the building. The buildings go from 250,000 square feet to roughly 381,000 square feet. Once again, we've had a lot of discussions with them respect to infrastructure. With the help of Jeff, we discussed with them about the infrastructure and the sanitary. Got Aqua involved because presently there's some questions as to capacity for sanitary sewer service. We think we arrived at some reasonable solutions where the village would not be held accountable, but Aqua's got to sign off on this also, because I'd like to attach the memo of understanding that we talked about to the agreement itself, so Northern knows what our expectations are, which is most important, that they tell us who their potential user is, so we can figure out how much discharge there would be. They will probably be here, meaning Northern. They've been here quite a few times, but they'll probably be here at the next board meeting. They have not closed on our Mr. Arquilla site nor Wilkins site. They're anxious to close. I would caution the board, each building is, again, between 23 to 35 million total costs. The TIF eligible costs are that run from 3.8 to 5.4, which is about 18% of the total project. 20% is a pretty good level. They are asking to have that land as a TIF eligible cost. It doesn't kick them over the 20%, but that's pretty reasonable, between 18 to 20%. The land that they're buying, I did check fair market value as to what they're paying for it versus what we bought from Mr. Arquilla, a year and a half ago on the 40 acres. They're comparable. So we're not paying for something that's probably overpriced. So we do have some protection there. But Northern, with the help of Jeff a lot, and obviously Ruben, they've we think we made a lot of progress. So they plan to start construction, everything goes well, not this year, but probably next year. It takes 18 months to get those precast sidings in, so they're a little far behind, not them, but the project in general. Any questions on that? And last but not least, there's an ordinance for the boards. No action taken tonight, but if the board recalls, Second Place Church, when they came into the board, mentioned about like a drawing on the side of their building. And it was suggested that we draft an ordinance to address what can and cannot be depicted on the building. The way it would be tentatively set up, and this is just an idea, you would have I don't know if we still have the beautification committee, but they would take a look at the design, make a recommendation similar to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Their recommendation would go before the full board then can either approve or disapprove. I know some other villages, I believe Lamont and I think Lockport has the same type of concept, because they've done some real nice, they try to get their history back. And Joliet too, you go underneath the viaduct, Joliet, the same thing. They want the history shown on the side of a building, and they've done very nice.
Crete has 2 of them also.
Oh, Crete does? Okay. So it's just, that way the mayor and the board, there's, the final say-so would be with the board and the mayor as to what is presentable. There's some that are questionable at times, but this would give us, or the board, some latitude as to what they feel is appropriate. But it won't be up tonight for action, just want to get something out to the board. That's all I have, Mayor.
Great, thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
Any unfinished business? Any new business? Open to the public, non-agenda items.
I'm in Lamont a lot, and those murals are fantastic out there.
The downtown part is extremely nice, yes they are.
I just want to thank Mayor Bogue, Ruben, Larry, Bill Barnes, Jim Pace, came out to our homeowners association over at Gulf Vista last month. They were asked a lot of questions, and I'm glad everybody was there. Everybody responded. I had to type up 5 pages of minutes from all the questions and everything. But everyone was really impressed with all the answers they got, and just want to say thank you for coming out. So,
Thank you, Norb. Thank you.
Before you sit down, just for the record, could you state your name, please?
Norb Snow.
Thank you.
I was going to give you a fake one.
I would like to make a comment on that if I can. I would like to thank you too, because I got many phone calls from the residents of Gulf Vista telling me what a great job you guys did over there. So I just want to say thank you for taking care of them. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Christy Holston with the Historical Society. I'm just here because I wanted to kind of give an update to everybody. It's been a while now since we've been open. We opened in September, and give you a little bit of an update on our progress and what we're working on right now. According to our lease, we're mandated to be open one Saturday a month, and we've been doing that, but we would certainly like, one of our big goals for this year is to be open a little bit more often than that. We are working with other community groups. Diana and I meet on a regular basis to make sure that we are coordinating events with the Park District and the Historical Society at the Heritage Center. We have also started into a partnership of a sort with Governor State. Working with them, we've had one intern come in and do a video, and we're talking to another one who will be starting. What the main stumbling block for the Historical Society is to get more volunteers, because it is a 501c3 and we don't have any regular funding or source of revenue. So what we're doing is all in the fundraising, grant writing type of a vein. So the volunteers are spread fairly thin, but we're trying to bring in more folks. We have put together an advisory board and have some good people on that. Bill Barnes with the Village is our newest member. So we're very happy to have him with. He was a great addition. Also, Andre Merrick, who is the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences at GSU, is on our board. Billy Morgan, who is on the Township Board, is on our board. Larry Cockle, who is a former mayor and a longtime resident, is also a member of the board. And at the same meeting as Bill came, we also now have Dr. Kara Coglanese, who is the superintendent of the school district. So she is also very enthusiastic about what we're doing and sees a lot of good partnerships between the school district and the Historical Society. We're also working in conjunction with the Peatone Library District. As everybody knows, we're a taxed member of that district, and working with Noreen and the board to find ways that we can get some synergy and get some library services into Monee. So we now have a history book club, a mystery book club, and a children's story hour. We're hoping to have a book week in June, another in July, and another in August, where we'll have books that kids can come and check out at the Historical Society. One other good thing that we're having is we've got some good programming coming on. We're working on a monthly newsletter so that we'll be able to be a little bit more timely in what we're doing. Chris Russell is also on our advisory board, and he is also hosting our website. So we're making upgrades to our website as well. This week we have Larry McClellan, who's going to be doing a presentation tomorrow night on the Underground Railroad in this area. We had a request from one of the teachers at the fifth grade teachers that they wanted to know whether or not we were going to stream this live because they wanted to use it as a virtual field trip for their class. So we thought that was a wonderful step forward, and we are going to try Facebook living that presentation, as well as what we have going on Saturday, which is we've got a quilt exhibit going on right now for the next month. And we've got Reverend Betsy Udris, who is going to be with us on Saturday, and she will do her portrayal of a Civil War woman who will tell us all about the hidden meaning in quilts that, you know, were signs for the Underground Railroad. And we have local Dr. Mark Zumhagen, who does an interpretation of Abraham Lincoln. He's a spitting image of him, and he will be reciting the Gettysburg Address and a few other addresses, and we'll be Facebook streaming that live as well. So I want to thank the board for their support. The board has been more than gracious and generous in listening to all of our requests. We try to keep them to a minimum, but everything that we need a little bit of help with, they have been more than willing to lend an ear and a helping hand in what we're doing. So does anybody have any questions that they'd like any clarification on? Thank you, thank you. We have a million projects that we'd like to do. I was talking to somebody this morning. She was doing an interview, again with GSU, and my project is always anybody I talk to, I want to make them a convert so that we can get more people involved, and I think she'll be back. We've got lots of different volunteer opportunities, so pretty much anything anybody wants to be involved with, we have a way of utilizing whatever talents they have to offer, and we are more than happy to have volunteers. So thank you all for your support, and I'm going to try to make sure that we are here about once a month to give updates on what we're doing and keep everyone informed. Thank you.
Thank you. What? No, I know you have the community, well, the Facebook page, but if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, how would they contact you?
We have an email address, and that's on our website. And we'll be having a telephone number to publish soon so that people will be able to call as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
All right, next item, executive session. Number 1, 5 ILCS 120/2C5, the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the public body, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired. So if I can please have a motion to adjourn regular session and go into executive session.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Rakes?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Can I please have a motion to reconvene our regular meeting?
Make that motion. Second.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Rakes?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, action to be taken following executive session. Possible motion to authorize the purchase of real estate contingent upon doing our due diligence with good faith earnest deposit in the amount of $10,000 with purchase price not to exceed $230,000 for the property with the PIN number 21-140-200-407-40000. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Mayor, could I just do the last digit? Sorry, it's 007 dash 4000.
Oh, 000, okay, 4 zeros, okay, 0000.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
We have a first and a second. Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Rakes?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Can I please have a motion to adjourn?
Make the motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
8:19 PM.
Thank you.